Hello and welcome. It's Japan, and we just had Backlash. This is a little late, but I have actually good reason. It wasn't procrastination. I was actually at Backlash. It was amazing to be there. I feel like being at a live event automatically makes everything better. So I feel like I might rate these a little higher or lower, maybe being there because it's just seeing it is a difference. But I mean, I'm gonna have to guess be a little bit of a mark when you actually go and see these matches. It's just insane. First off, crowd was popping. I don't know exactly if it translated really well on TV. I feel like I need to go back and watch it on TV just to see, but it was deafening from where we were. We were chanting. My voice is still messed up, and this is already a day later. We're almost over 24 hours. My voice is terrible, and it was way worse before this. I was screaming at every match humanly possible. So let's just go into this and rate this. I'm going to be completely honest that I'm going to be probably overly biased because I was there, but I'm going to just do my best. So we'll start off with the U.S. title match. It was Jacob Fatu versus Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight. Now, this match had a lot of good back and forth, and there's a lot of stuff that happened for it. Like, honestly, have this being the first match really set the tone of the PLE? Like, I feel like this really should have gone like maybe second to last because of how much stuff was in it that was great. Because obviously, when you have the Fatal Four Way, you have like the no disqualification. So we had a lot of stuff all over the place. So obviously, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre were going to have their own stuff outside where it looks like Drew might have actually got hurt really badly, or at least pretty banged up from that. So hopefully everything will be good with that. The match itself with them two, it was really good with it. But obviously Jacob Fatu was like this star above this. He really made everybody shine. And then that jump where LA Knight was gonna look like he was gonna jump from the top rope the to the table. I'm like, this has to be a spot because there's no way he's gonna make that jump. Like, I mean, no, nothing against LA Knight, but that was dastardly. But Solo saves him, and then we have Jeff Cobb come and make his debut, which I thought was a pretty nice touch. I mean, I like Jeff Cobb. I don't know a lot about him like on the mic at least, but I've seen some matches from him. I remember from Lucha Underground. I remember him obviously just recently in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I think interesting that they're going to be in this new group. I kind of like it too because like whenever they kind of make this group, hopefully it kind of differs from the bloodline and they try to like go on their own vein of being like kind of like just a no good rotten guys, I guess is the best way of saying it. I don't know what that doesn't sound like a great name for a faction, but I do like it. I honestly think it was a pretty good choice to have Jeff Cobb there, and obviously Fatu retained. I thought this match was a really solid A. It almost ventures into that S tier match. I feel like there might have been more with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. I don't feel like they were supposed to be wiped out there. Because I feel like Solo and Jeff Cobb were there like a little bit too much firepower for that. So I feel like they were there to take out the other guys, but something happened on the outside. So I think that kind of maybe suffered, but it was a really good match altogether. A lot better than I expected. Well, honestly, I expected it to be one of the better matches. I was kind of surprised LA Knight took the pin, but again, it felt like something might have been changed up there. But also, it's a huge match with tons of people against, LA Knight at that point. It was a 3 versus 1 at the very end, so you're not going to win those odds. Next, we had Lyra and Becky Lynch. Now, these two, honestly, if you want to go with the hardest workers, this was that match. Like, they went out there and showed it. I really wish the crowd was more into it. It was a lot of the match where people left to go get food or whatever they wanted to do, which was very disappointing because like these two women can absolutely fight and they got the storyline behind it with this everything. There's some nice little cheating angles there. I felt like all of it worked out pretty nicely, and surprisingly Lyra won. I really thought they were going to have her lose there, so Becky would take over the title. Obviously I think this is not the end of this rivalry, so I'm kind of glad that this rivalry is getting a little bit longer. I kind of figured they would be rivaling for the title afterwards, but either way, this is still really cool. I really like this match. I think honestly, for like a wrestling standpoint, I think this probably was the best match of just like two people going out there and giving it their all. They had like their motors running 24/7. I'm gonna put it up in A tier. I feel like it was good. I just it's a really solid good match to be on this card. I would almost put it in S tier. I feel like maybe it should have been Becky who won. here. Not just because I predicted it, just because I think it would have worked really good to make Lyra even more over and more hungry. So I feel like there could have been something there. Obviously, she kind of gets attacked at the end, and there's no Bailey save, which I think they're just saving for a later date, which I would have liked that. I think altogether, I think this match was still amazing and definitely deserved to be on the card. Obviously, it's the only women's match on this card, and I felt like there should have been more. This card definitely needed 6 matches. Not a lot of times I say that it has to have 6, but this one definitely did, especially with the Gunther Pat McAfee fight, which we'll get to. Not necessarily it being a bad fight, just that it was one of those matches that had just kind of bragging rights, which the WWE has kind of gone away from. Almost every PLE match to a certain extent that's like on the main roster has something to do with something, unless it's just a long-term story. And this is somewhat of a like a side quest for Gunther, because it feels like this is the ending to it. But I'll talk about that more when we get there. Next up, we had the match that was added last minute, Penta versus Dominic Mysterio. I thought it was a pretty solid match. I liked it. I just didn't like that they kind of added it. I could be wrong, but there's no way in this world that I don't believe that the Io Sky and Rhea Ripley tag team match against Julia and Roxanne wasn't supposed to be here. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm pretty sure it was just Rhea needing some extra time, but I don't think this was the match. I think definitely that tag match was here instead of this match, because they didn't really even build up to it, because it's just a rematch of a match they had on Raw, and it's 5v1. There was no way Penta was going to win here, unfortunately. And I was really surprised, which I kind of like, that most of that crowd was all Dom. Everybody around me was Dom. I was cheering Penta. It's one of my partner's favorite wrestlers so far. So I obviously was going for Penta anyways. I knew Dom would win and retain, but it still was fun. I really feel like the match should have been longer too. I felt like even though they had all the shenanigans and stuff, that they didn't give them enough time to cook. And that's why I really believe this match was kind of last minute, because it was the shortest match of them all. And it definitely felt the shortest. It felt like it was just a flash, and I feel like Penta deserved a little bit better. I'm gonna put it in B. Still a solid match altogether, but I definitely would have liked it a little bit longer, and maybe Penta kind of surviving those numbers a little bit longer than he did, because like they got thrown out, and then that was kind of it. They didn't disqualify him or anything. I don't know. It's just there was a lot that match could have changed. They didn't need all that extra flail. Next up, we had Gunther versus Pat McAfee. This was just a fun match. This wasn't the best match in the world. It was just a lot of fun. Everybody was chanting and egging Gunther on. I'm like, we're just gonna make him want to kill Pat better. But all of us was still really excited for this match. I think Pat, obviously has some in-ring skill. He's good on the mic. I felt like it was warranted to have this. I felt like kind of like it's probably not a feud that should have happened right after Gunther losing the title. I feel like possibly Gunther's kind of summer is kind of booked for some weird stuff, because I mean a lot of people think Goldberg's next, and it just feels like that's kind of a lot random, but it feels like he's done with Pat. Obviously, Michael Cole trying to save him and try to cheat to help Pat McAfee win. I thought all that was good. It was definitely the match, other than the obviously main event, that the crowd was just absolutely in. And it was surprising to see so many fans and like signs for Pat McAfee. Like I know he's definitely a well liked guy, but I didn't expect to see more Pat McAfee signs than Randy Orton signs, which was just still baffling to see. Like Pat McAfee by far had the most signage there, and like just even just random kids be like #1 Pat McAfee fan. I'm like, what? Like, I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying anything bad, but it was kind of crazy when you're in St. Louis, in Randy Orton's hometown. I figured Randy Orton would have the bigger, whatever, like more thing behind him. But altogether, I put this match in C. I don't think it necessarily needed to be on the card. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good for what the card being, but I really do think that 6 match would have helped this one just be a little bit more, good to swallow, because it's like you kind of knew some of the other wrestling wasn't going to be as great. So yeah. And before I get to the main event, I've been really thinking about it. I kind of do want to put the Becky and Lyra matchup in S tier. I really think it deserves it. Now I'm thinking more and more about it, because like even when I'm talking about other stuff, I was just thinking like they really took it out there, and they went a long time. It is the second longest match. So you can tell they just went out there and did everything that they needed to do, and I definitely agree that it should be an S tier. So I changed that now. So hopefully If you watch most of the videos, you'll catch at the end that I changed it. Next up, we had the main event, the undisputed WWE Championship match, John Cena versus Randy Orton in Randy Orton's hometown. And the crowd was all over the place with it, and it was an absolute madhouse of all the chanting and stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, if you want to go based off of just 100% the just match like wrestling. I don't think it's the super high S tier type quality. Obviously, both men have been veterans for a long time. They go out there, put solid work in. John Cena's still getting in there. I think he's getting better every time because he's getting more used to. He has muscles and strength to do movies and stunts and stuff like that. And then it's a whole different thing to go out there and wrestle and do everything. And I think he's getting back into it now, this being what his fourth match. But he had the Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, and then this match. Yeah, it's fourth match from coming back, and I think it's awesome. I feel like it was a good match. Obviously, I think with John Cena, with his heel stuff, it's just been great. I think the only thing I didn't mind all the referee spots and the RKO's. Everybody was kind of upset about all that. I honestly thought it was just kind of cinematic. And just kind of crazy. I was fine with all the craziness, all those RKO's. The RKO from the AA to the RKO was great. That was just a perfect callback to something that's already happened, and honestly, it was just really fun. So I thought all that was good. I definitely didn't like the R-Truth thing coming down there. I knew we were gonna get it at some point. I had called it. I don't think I put it in the prediction video, but I had called it the whole day because we knew R-Truth was there because he was like signing autographs and stuff. I'm like, yeah, he's there just to do that spot, just to get down there and distract him at some point. And I just don't think it was needed. I think there was already enough distractions and stuff. We could have saved the R-Truth coming down for a different distraction to keep John Cena on his belt. But I do like the cinema, and I don't know exactly how much was shown on the actual show, but when John Cena leaves and he just looks at it, it's starting to get to him. I think he's starting to know the price he paid turning heel and stuff, and I think it's just that cinematic moment of just sitting there looking at that thing, the belt, and just kind of knowing that he's doing wrong. I think it's going to be the chef's kiss when this all ends, because I think it's going to be a nice send off when I think he finally does turn face at the very end of all this. Hopefully, that's kind of how they go. I'm honestly on the side of like whatever story. Either he retires as champion and they make a new championship, and it's just completely something different, or Cody Rhodes beats him and it does it. It has to be Cody. I mean, I don't think there should be anybody else that does. It has to be Cody that does it. I do think it'd be interesting if he goes against The Rock, and Cody helps him retain at some point. That could be something cool right before all of this happening at the very end. But overall, just because of the cinematic of this match and the gravity of this match and seeing it live, I gotta put it in S tier. I know probably a lot of people are not gonna agree with that to a certain extent because it didn't even get a good cage match. It's the third highest match on a card of five, but man, the cinematic of seeing all that is just chef's kiss. And sometimes that's the best part of wrestling. Like I like good wrestling and I like good storytelling. And if you can get, both to a pretty good level in a match, it's going to hit a little bit different compared to only having one or the other. But I definitely feel like this was an S tier match. Now, if you're going based off everything, Lyra and Becky definitely did better. That's why I think I ended up sliding them up to S, because it was like that match really did deserve being the best match of the night. Um, the triple threat, the fatal four way was pretty close. Again, I just feel like there was something missing from it because of, I feel like the injury had something to do with that. The Gunther match was fun. The Penta match was fun. This whole PLE was pretty fun. I'd still probably put it up in the A, even though it looks like I have some on the bottom. I definitely feel like it gave, maybe night two a little bit of run for its money. Again, a lot of bias because I was actually there and seeing it all unfold through my eyes at just where our seats were, and it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna try to get a vlog or some stuff together. I'm gonna post a couple of the clips too that I took on the channel, just for the hell of it. I don't, they're not the best quality or anything, but it's just kind of fun to see it in like kind of a fan perspective on some of the moments from the match. So they'll be on there in the shorts, and then like I said, I'm gonna try to get some type of like St. Louis blog together best I can. I don't have a lot of time for it, but I do have some time maybe tomorrow after work, so I'm hoping to do that. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.